discretion is advised.
What's up? It's your boy ComicHead84 here, coming at you a few days into a COVID quarantine, and your boy's pretty bored. So, making this impromptu video for you, and we're gonna look at how MCU Marvel should handle the next 3 Spider-Man movies. We know they just completed the first trilogy, and we're kind of left it open-ended on how the next 3 movies should go. I'm not really going to put too much, spoilers from the most recent movie. There might be a couple little references, but don't worry. And they confirmed there's going to be 3 more movies, another trilogy. I'm about to break down for you how I think they should play out those next 3 movies. Not only how I think, how they should do it. This is the best way to do it. You'll see. I think you'll agree. All right. Buckle in, get your popcorn, get comfortable, ready? I'm about to paint you a picture here. Movie number 1. Opening scene. Movie opens up. A forest, a wintry cold forest. You're seeing this massive brown bear, Siberian brown bear, majestic, going through the woods. Someone's stalking this bear. Boom, reveal. It's Kraven. It's Kraven the Hunter, looking all long bearded, long haired, looking like a savage man, right? He's stalking the bear, rolls up on it, and he's not doing some conventional hunting with a rifle or anything. He rolls up hand to hand. He wants to take this beast down, fights the bear with nothing but just like a knife, maybe a spear. Boom. You open up with a nice little action scene of Kraven beefing and killing this massive, like 800-pound bear. Boom, murks it. 2 little cubs come out from a bush like, oh no, you killed our mom. He just gives it an ice cold stare and walks off. Boom, Kraven's been introduced right off the bat. Throw the audience for a loop. Now, let's hop into New York City. Let's catch up with Peter Parker. Peter Parker cruising through his new college. And as you know, no one remembers Peter Parker. They showed his GED, him taking a GED test, because it's like he never existed. So there's no prestigious grade record or anything like that. So he's just going to a regular blue-collar college. Boom, doing his thing. He meets Felicia Hardy. That's right, Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat. She goes to that school as well. She's kind of like a bad to the bone punk. She's kind of like a punk chick. She wears like a leather jacket, rides a motorcycle to school. That kind of vibe, right? Bad girl. In my movie, she's played by Anna Taylor-Joy, right? Boom. That's our Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. They become like friends. They kind of hit it off a little bit. Boom. He comes across the teacher from the previous movies, the dude from Silicon Valley, comes across that teacher, and the teacher doesn't remember him or anything. So just to reinforce that we're starting from scratch here, teacher doesn't recognize him, but says, hey, this came for you. I'm supposed to give this to you. It's an invitation. Opens it up to address to Peter Parker. Invitation to join the Future Foundation, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Future Foundation, which is like a program, that's seeking out like really gifted or high IQ youths because, he's been killing it on his tests, on his GED, his SATs. He's nailing it, so he's kind of like a standout in that regard. Boom, he's in the Future Foundation. We don't really meet Reed Richards, but when he goes to this little orientation seminar thing, they play like a little footage explaining, oh, this is the founder of the Future Foundation, Reed Richards. They describe him almost like an Elon Musk type, like, genius dude. He just wants to make the world a better place. And mind you, put a pin in that. That's how I always seen the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. I never thought they're like want to fight crime or squash evil necessarily. His main thing is like he just wants to make the world a better place. Usually through his like innovations and inventions. If he happens to get into a mix with, you know, a Doom or what have you, so be it. But that's not his main thing. So anyway, he runs the Future Foundation. And just as a cool little Easter egg, when they give him the invitation, there's an FF on it in like blue. Stands for Future Foundation, but it's also a wink for Fantastic Four. Okay, so bang. We circle back. Peter Parker's hanging out with Felicia Hardy. Now there's almost like a somewhat romance. You know, they're not smooching or anything yet, but they're really becoming pals. And they're hanging out, and she gets arrested, right? She's like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, we're arresting you for, you know, B&E or larceny or something like that. And she's like, no, this ain't right. They think they're profiling her because she looks like she's from the wrong side of the tracks. And Peter's like, thinks she's also wrongly accused because that's what she's saying to him. So he's like, oh man, don't worry. I know someone I can call that can help you out. An attorney. Enter Matt Murdock, brother. Yes. Enter Matt Murdock. This is going to be basically a Spider-Man and Daredevil movie. That's right. We're going back to street level Spider-Man, as he should be. This ain't no robotic arms, Stark Tech Spider-Man. Street level with Daredevil. So we haven't got there yet, though. Boom, Matt Murdock's in there. Oh, hello. He doesn't remember Peter Parker, right? Hey, how's it going? We get that narrative going. All right, we set the pieces up for that. Cut to. Let's cut back to Russia. Mother Russia. Kraven the Hunter. Now, we're seeing like this elegant Victorian era home. Classical music playing. There's like a little soiree, a little small gathering party going on. And now we see this dude, Kraven, appear. Same guy from the beginning, opening scene, but he looks much different. Now, instead of this ravaged, long-haired hunter dude, now we got a clean cut, mustachioed, short hair, Kraven, you know, like a dressed nice, smoking jacket. Boom, he's doing his thing. He's small talking with people. He shows some guests his trophy room, where it's like mad exotic animals, bears, rhinoceros, hippos, all the crazy shit this guy is hunting. And that basically gives us a chance for him to like spit his worldview about how he feels about, you know, hunting and being the alpha predator. And we also want to weave in there the signs of like, we don't want to go straight up Kraven's Last Hunt. It's a little too dark, I think, for what we want. But we want to take some aspects of it, like the fact that he's like his mental issues. His mom was like a schizophrenic, depressive. We want to show that Kraven is also kind of has like these depression issues, kind of resents his family's wealth, and he's like almost overcompensates with this hunter shit. He wants to get back to primo basics, man versus beast, because he's so sick of this pampered life of being rich. So we want to kind of weave that in there a little bit. And during this gathering, before we head out, someone mentions the Spider-Man to him and starts telling him about Spider-Man. And he's like, becomes fascinated by the spider. It's like, I've hunted many beasts. He wants, now let's try the spider. This spider looks like an interesting prey. You know what I'm saying? So, boom. Let's just, and not all this is going to be in chronological order, right? But let's just fast forward to Kraven, fascinated by Spider-Man, pops up in New York City to face Spider-Man. We get the beef. We get their first meeting. He rolls up. Basically, they start fighting, right? And now, while Spider-Man is much stronger than him, obviously, right? We don't have like OP Kraven. Maybe we put in that he like drinks a little bit of that jungle juice, that jungle potions, that maybe make him a little more enhanced, and also maybe contribute to his some psychoses that he might have. But so he's just a little jungle juiced up, but he's not nothing crazy. But what he does have though is like these jungle cat reflexes, and that's what's throwing off Peter Parker Spider-Man. It's like strength to strength, Kraven's no match, but he can't get a hit on him, dude. Kraven's like jungle cat reflexes, super fast, just out fighting him. Peter Parker's not a classically trained fighter, mind you. We've never established that. So Kraven's out juking him and shit, and then he's getting the better of him, then hits him with like some poison dart. Got Spider-Man all fucked up, gives him a nice slash across the face, poison darts his ass, defeats Spider-Man, basically leaves him for dead, almost like buries him alive, a la Kraven's Last Hunt. A shallow grave, you know what I'm saying? But buries him alive. And Kraven, like in Kraven's Last Hunt, says, this was too easy. And he also takes his mask off. He unmasks Spider-Man. He says, a child? He's like, you were no match for me. This was not impressive. And you're a child? I'm going to be... He takes over the mantle of Spider-Man. I shall be the Spider Hunter. Just like Kraven's thing, right? Kraven's Last Hunt. Boom, he dons the Spider-Man suit, takes off. Now, during this episode, during this part of the movie, we check in with Daredevil. And for a good like 20 minutes or so, because we had Spider-Man buried alive, he could be dead for all we know. It's like a straight up fucking Daredevil movie for like 20 minutes in the middle of this film. It's Daredevil gets into a mix-up with Black Cat. This is like the first time we're seeing Black Cat in full suit. Daredevil, intercepts her as she's trying to like rob or heist some shit. Boom, we get a Daredevil Black Cat fight. Boom. Then we see Black Cat is actually entangled with, working for Kingpin. That's right. So now we got a Kingpin Black Cat Daredevil dynamic happening. And he's like, holy shit. And because even though Daredevil's blind, he's got senses like a mofo, he just based off of whatever sonar shit Daredevil takes note about, he recognizes from her voice actually that Black Cat is that girl Felicia Hardy. So after he takes off from that shit, he's like, yo, I gotta get in touch with Peter Parker, because he was like pleading this girl was wrongfully accused, and Matt Murdock has morals. He's down to take on cases for people that are wrongly accused. But now that he's confirmed that she's a criminal working for the likes of Kingpin, he ain't gonna represent her. And he thought Peter was a good kid, so he wants to talk to him and let him know, hey dude, this girl is not what she seems. So Daredevil, Matt Murdock, rolls up to Peter's apartment. Peter's nowhere to be found. He finds some kind of clue or some shit. Somehow the better writers than me will figure out a way that Daredevil finds a clue of where Peter Parker went to go meet up with Kraven and goes to that site as Daredevil. And he's looking around for Peter, and even Peter's buried alive, but with Daredevil's sonar, he can hear a heartbeat, boom, 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 from underneath some dirt. And that's when he's like, oh shit, someone's in there. Digs it out. It's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is maskless, right? Because Kraven took his mask off. He sees, holy shit. So now, you might be saying, dang, 2 people already learned his identity. Don't worry. But Daredevil does learn his identity. So he's like, oh man, Spider-Man is still all wrecked from this. So Daredevil takes Spidey back to a safe place, a hideout, right? And he's trying to nurse him back to health. As he does, Spider-Man is realizing that one of the effects of this poison dart and this overall ass whooping and the slash to the face that Kraven gave him is loss of sight, dude. Spider-Man basically has lost his vision, blind. Oh, man. So, no worries. That's going to give us a nice opportunity for Daredevil to say, look, here's how I navigate things without my sight. And we get a cool little scene and montage of like with some cool effects, really showing how Daredevil perceives things and like to show how his sonar vision works. That'd be a dope CGI sequence. But Spider-Man tells him about the spider sense. And they're like, so we start unraveling that a little bit. And basically Daredevil trains Spider-Man on how to rely on his spider senses, much like Daredevil relies on his sonar. Okay? So now he fills him in on the Black Cat thing. They roll up to Kingpin and Black Cat. And dude, Spider-Man is still blind. And when they roll up to fight them, it's like straight up like Bloodsport sequence. When Van Damme is blinded and still has to battle Chun-Li, we're getting some Bloodsport vibes of Spider-Man, no vision, but he's using his spider senses. Maybe they're fighting in the dark. They get Black Cat in the dark or some shit. We finally get a Kingpin Spider-Man face-off. That's gonna be cool. Boom, boom, boom. Fight sequence. They handle that business. Boom. Then, once we wrap that up, that kind of ties up the Daredevil, Black Cat aspect of the story. Now let's get to the final third act with Kraven. Meanwhile, all this time, Kraven, we got a couple scenes of him going through the city dressed as Spider-Man, beating dudes' asses in the Spider-Man suit. And he kind of looks like extra jacked in the spider suit. It looks kind of cool. But he's like kicking ass in the suit. Not web slinging or anything, but just like hammering dudes. And he's like getting off on it. Like, ah, yes. So anyway, we get the meetup. Spider-Man versus Kraven. Final battle. Third act. They clash. Now that Spider-Man has pretty much got his vision back, okay? But now, with a better understanding and sharpening of his spider senses, now he is able to compensate for those ill jungle reflexes that Kraven was using to his advantage in the beginning. Huh? See how that all ties in? So now he's got a better mastery of the spider senses, and he's able to be formidable with Kraven. You know, maybe there's a funny line of like, bro, you've been running around violently beating people's ass dressed up as me. You have no idea what I just went through to repair my image and reputation in this city. That's kind of funny. They battle. Spider-Man defeats Kraven, right? He's got Kraven on his ass. Kraven's just like, because as we said, depressive issues. He's like, kill me. Just fucking kill me, dude. And Peter, having learned the lesson from the last movie, when Toby had to stop him, like, dude, that's not what we do. We don't kill Green Goblin. Remembering that lesson, he's like, nah, dude, I don't kill. That's not what I do. Walks off, let him live. Final scene of the movie. I said we didn't want to go directly Kraven's Last Hunt. So if you guys know how Kraven's Last Hunt ends, he pretty much puts a shotgun in his mouth and poof, blows his brains out. Suicide. His last hunt. In this movie, we cut to the final scene. It's that same wintry forest that we were at in the beginning. And Kraven's walking through the woods, right? And he goes back to that same area where he killed that original mama bear. And who's there? Those two cubs, now grown. He rolls up on him, dude. The two bears look at him. They recognize that's the dude that killed their mom bear. And that's how Kraven does his suicide in this movie. It's like this dramatic moment, symphony music playing, a tear running down his eye. Because we want Kraven almost like sympathetic somewhat in this movie, because we feel for his like his self-loathing issues and shit. And that's how he chooses to kill himself. He goes to those two bears and allows those two bears to get revenge. Look at that, full circle. The two bears get their revenge at the end. Bang. End of the movie. Roll credits. Post-credits scene, dude. What's the post-credit scene? We see Ned and MJ at MIT. Mind you, this is the first time we saw them this whole movie. For a minute there, you were thinking, maybe they don't even exist anymore in this world. Maybe we just totally moved on. No. Ned and MJ walking through MIT. So that's a little fun moment. Like, oh shit, look, it's Ned and MJ. They're rolling through the MIT school. They sit into a class. And someone comes out and says, all right, everyone quiet down. I want to introduce the new guest speaker who's going to be like, wants to talk to you guys. Internship possibilities, whatever. Let me introduce to you Mr. Norman Osborn. Bum, bum, bum. Norman Osborn in this MCU, played by Michael Shannon, who would make such a dope Norman Osborn. Michael Shannon, Norman Osborn, just rolls up and says hello. End of movie. Bam. That's right. What a banger. Okay, now, let's get to the next movie. Movie number 2. We open up. It's Peter Parker. Stick with me here, y'all. Next movie opens up. It's Peter Parker with the Future Foundation. And his Future Foundation, membership has brought him to MIT, right? That's where they are meeting up here. And at MIT, he meets with Ned and MJ. So he's like, oh shit. He starts to try to establish a reconnection with them. Obviously, they don't remember him. They think he's kind of weird. But there you go. We got the pieces in place. Parker, because of the Future Foundation, is now at MIT. Not as a student, but they be meeting there a lot. Reconnect with Ned and MJ. Johnny Storm is a character in this movie. I don't want to have everyone they don't have powers yet, so it's just Johnny Storm. He doesn't attend MIT. He goes to Peter's school, but sometimes he hangs out because his sister Sue works for the Future Foundation. So Johnny Storm, he's kind of like a hot shit type character. They'll have like a little friendship. We're building bridges towards a long-term Spider-Man crosses over into an FF movie. So boom, we set the stage for Peter. Cut to our villain, our first villain, Dimitri. Step brother, half brother of the Chameleon. No, half brother of Kraven the Hunter, the Chameleon, dog. Yes, that's right. And did you even know that the Chameleon, Dimitri, was in Spider-Man Far From Home? He was in Mysterio's crew, Dimitri. So I'm already pulling threads that are there already, dude. Dimitri at the grave of his brother, Kraven, grieving his brother, blaming Spider-Man. He wants revenge on Spider-Man because of his brother dying. Hell yeah. So, let's see. Kraven. So Kraven's going to be dope. Chameleon. Chameleon's going to be dope. He's got his right-hand man, like his muscle, is Tombstone. Yes. So we got Chameleon and Tombstone in the film through Stark Tech. Because don't forget, Mysterio used to work for Stark and had illusionary technology. And since Dimitri was in that crew, he had access to some Stark/Mysterio face-changing technology. That's how he's able to be the Chameleon. Boom, dope. This shit's tying in nice. So, just a cool scene that he's like our entry-level bad guy, our B plot. I can just picture a cool scene of Peter. Peter's rolling through a spot, right? Chameleon's fucking with him because he's got all this. He has been messing with him with the face-changing technology. And what if there was a scene, Spider-Man, going through this spot, and he hears, "Hey, kid." Peter looks, Tony Stark. The crowd pops. Oh shit, Robert Downey Jr. We haven't seen Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark in years and years, the crowd pops. Spider-Man's like, what? He's like, Mr. Stark, I thought you were dead. He said, he's kind of acting like, he's acting just like the Stark that we know. He's like, nah, kid, it's going to take more than that to take me out, da-da-da. And who knows, in this world of sorcery, magicians, and changing reality, Spider-Man's like, all right, no doubt. I guess you're not dead. So he really believes it. This is really an emotionally strong moment for Peter, his old mentor, until he flips the switch and now Tony Stark starts attacking him because it's Chameleon, and you just get a cool little battle of, Chameleon and Tombstone versus Spider-Man. Bang. All right, now let's cut to our other plot, the main plot. And I'm going to ride us on home right here, okay? So we have Ned and MJ at the internship for Oscorp, working under Norman Osborn. They're pretty much our vehicle for spending time with Norman Osborn. And basically his deal is everyone pretty much likes him. He's a brilliant man. Ned and MJ like him. Everyone in the school likes him. But Peter is skeptical of this motherfucker. And not even because he's seeing him do anything wrong. He just knows that Norman Osborn from the other dimension is fucking Green Goblin bad news. So he's got a close eye on this dude. He's like, yo, Norman Osborn, Oscorp, he's really suspicious of this guy. And so much so that it's like really starts to annoy Ned and MJ. They're like, bro, chill. Everyone likes him. And Peter's like hating on this guy all the time. So anyway, one night, Norman's working in his lab, and we introduced the Goblin Glider, right? And basically, it's something that he uses, like the real world use of it is, it's like this glider that, because of, I'm not going to pretend I know all the scientific mechanics of it, but writers will figure out that in his laboratory, they're working on some shit that is like really tall. And it's helpful if you're able to be on a glider and like go up to one thing, glide to another thing, So that's why the Goblin Glider exists. That's why he invented it, because it helps you work in his science lab workshop thing, right? So that's the innovation. So we get the Goblin Glider, Doom, and Ned really looks up to this guy because, Ned has, without Peter Parker in his life, his confidence is it's still a little affected, but the Norman Osborn influence has really like boosted Ned's self-confidence, so he really is like looking up to this guy. So he's helping him out in the lab late one night. He's on the hoverboard, on the Goblin Glider, working on some shit. Classic comic book situation, malfunction, accident, boom, boom. Some shit happens, and Ned gets effed up and gets goblin powers, okay? He gets goblin powers. We got Ned as Hobgoblin. Boom. That's it. And that's going to be a big audience fake out moment, because one things I didn't tell you was this is not the Ned that we've been seeing. This is more like thin, almost hunky Ned, okay? So that's the Ned we're dealing with. And a dope thing that we would do is, in the trailers of this movie, we're hyping up the Michael Shannon as Norman Osborn thing. And in all the trailers, you never got a shot of Hobgoblin in the trailer. All you got was like a scene of what looked like Green Goblin flying on a glider with like a laugh, ha ha ha. But it was only almost like a shadowy image. So leading up to this movie, everyone's just expecting fucking Green Goblin. Michael Shannon's gonna be Green Goblin. We saw a goblin on the glider in the trailer. It's gonna be Green Goblin. So when that moment hits and it's Ned and it's not Norman Osborn, it's gonna be a great payoff moment. So, bang, let's bring it on home, dude. He's Hobgoblin. Peter, Spider-Man, rolls up to Oscorp because he thinks something's going on. He meets Ned, who's now Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin's like, now he has like this real powerful attachment to Norman Osborn. Mind you, Norman Osborn is a shady bad guy, by the way. And he's like going to use this to his advantage to manipulate. He kind of set up Ned for that to happen because he wants to have a chess move. He wants him to be on his chessboard. My MCU, Norman Osborn, will never become the Green Goblin. He's only going to be like a fucking Lex Luthor, Oscorp type guy the whole time. I never want to turn him into Green Goblin. We've been there, we've done that. So, because MCU really doesn't have like a cool Lex Luthor level business villain, and Michael Shane and Norman Osborn will be perfect. So we got our final battle. We got these emotional stakes because Peter is fighting his best friend. Ned might not remember him, but Peter remembers Ned, his best buddy, his guy in the chair, and he wants to kill him. And you know the callback from the movie, will you ever come back to try to kill me? Yes, indeed it does. We're paying that off, dude. I'm pulling strings all day. So they are fighting to the death. He is trying to kill Spider-Man. So you get a pretty dope battle there. And Spider-Man defeats Ned Hobgoblin. End of the movie. The whole time we've been playing with the relationship between Peter and MJ. And they get together at the end. Peter and MJ falls for him again. They smooch, dude. It ends with a MJ and Peter smooch. It was true love. It was true love in the end after all. Beautiful moment. That's how we end it. Roll the credits. Great movie. Post credits. Post credits, Spider-Man gets rolled up on by like fucking half a dozen heroes, and he gets drafted into the Secret Wars. That's right. That would be what I think MCU should do as their next big like Infinity Gauntlet level event. Do a Secret Wars, get all the ultimate fan service moments out of your fucking system. Have that be the end of the multiverse storylines. Secret Wars. Go nuts. Throw everyone in there that you want. Heroes, villains teaming up together. Go crazy. Anyway. Post-credits, he gets drafted into the Secret Wars. In Secret Wars, separate movie, he gets the black suit, just like in the comics, which was teased, right? Already. The symbiote finds Peter, black suit. Now for our third movie, we just set the stage for the Spider-Man versus Venom movie that we've always wanted, that we've all deserved, the dopest, true Venom Spider-Man movie. Bam, not Tom Hardy. We got, at this point, it would have been, who knows, fucking 10 years since we've seen Tom Hardy Venom. Fresh plate, Spidey versus Venom to round out the trilogy, end it with a bang, boom. I'm not going to walk you through that movie. You know what that's going to be. It's just going to be a banging Spider-Man versus Venom movie. There you have it. I was so worried about this video being mad long and me just looking like an insane person spitting fan fiction, which this video probably still looks like. I just wanted to motor through it. What do you think? Is that the dopest next 3 movies for Spider-Man you could possibly think of? I know it is for me. This has been Comic Kid 84. Had to get that out the system. Quarantine script writing. I'll keep you posted if this one gets any level of good feedback. I might spit for you guys what I think the DC universe should do in the next like 5 years to totally restore the DC universe and become badass and maybe trump Marvel. But we'll see. Thanks, guys. Peace.